The Endgame gear OP1 is one of the more interesting releases of the year, and this is the WE version. It has the same components as the XM2WE, so the more interesting parts of the review are going to be the shape and the features of the mouse. Looking at the shape of the OP1we, it does have a fairly aggressive hump, which is fairly thin, so you can actually pretty much enclose the whole hump inside your palm. The mouse is also overall quite thin and low profile, but not at all uncomfortable for me. Compared to the XM1, the sides on the OP1we are vertically flat, so even though it is low profile, there is still a good amount of space. The XM1 and the OP1 really are not that comparable, as the size difference is fairly massive, even though from the side profile these shapes do look kinda similar. The most similar mice to the OP1 are the X2 Mini and possibly the new upcoming X2H Mini, and also the Lethal Gaming Gear LA1, which pretty much has the same shape, but it's also larger than the OP1. The Lamsu Atlantis Mini, which is pretty much the XM1 Mini, is then again quite different in hand feel, mainly because the hump is wider and the sides do not feel flat whatsoever. For me at least, with both claw and fingertip grip, there is just way more space on the OP1 compared to the Atlantis Mini. Other popular mice really are not that similar to the OP1, for example the Razor Viper Mini is very different, mainly because of the hump location and how much curvature there is on the sides. And the G Pro X Superlight is not at all comparable, it just feels way larger than the OP1. All in all, the OP1we is a very good aggressive claw mouse, but because of the hump location and the height profile, the mouse is actually surprisingly long and does not feel the best if you want to relax claw the mouse. When I relaxed claw, I want to hit the front right corner with my pinky and my ring finger, but with the OP1 I just have to extend my fingers way too much and it feels uncomfortable. That's not really a problem for me with the OP1 though, because this shape kind of naturally makes me aggressive claw the mouse and it feels very comfortable for me. Which also shows in game, because I was hitting shots aiming very well and I wasn't thinking about how I would grip the mouse. Other than the shape, there are pretty much no surprises, as the performance is the exact same as it was with the XM2we, so the same click latency and the same motion latency, but the battery life is a little bit better. Actually, the battery life is now slightly worse because there is a smaller battery, but I could not notice the difference in real use. The build quality is very good, as these mice are built like absolute tanks and the Endgame gear coating is extremely premium for my liking. There is just one fairly huge downside for me, and that is the click feel. The actuation feels kinda mushy and hollow and the clicks are hard to actuate. Which in this case also means that they are hard to spam, so tap firing in CSGO is problematic. I have two units myself and the black one has a little bit lighter actuation and also the click feel is overall more crispy. But the click feeling is still worse than on many other mice with a similar price range. Actually, one thing I need to mention is that I had some access to spare Gale Go switches, and swapping these onto my white unit of the OP1we improved the click feel by a lot. The click feel is not hollow at all anymore and the actuation is actually even lighter. I also loosened the screws on those switch PCBs, making the click feel even lighter and even less hollow. That's something you can try as well if you are not happy with the OP1we click feel. Still though, I feel like the click feel should be better on a production unit as it was on my original white unit. Nice and responsive click feel is extremely important for me, and bad click feel can be something that makes me completely dismiss a mouse even though it were perfect in every other way. In terms of in-game performance and aim, I've done very well with the OP1we. The scores on all the scenarios have been pretty much the same as they were with the NP01S wireless. I did not break any records, but I also switched my mouse pad last week, so I'm kind of getting used to that as well. So I was not really expecting any kind of boost to my scores. Basically I performed just as I had hoped, and the mouse feels very natural and good for me in Kovacs and in CSGO. So all in all, I'm very happy with how the shape of the OP1we turned out. I can't relax claw it like I usually do, but the aggressive claw just feels very natural for me with this shape. A few more things to talk about, and one is the pricing. It should be very similar to the XM2we. In Europe it should be about 5 euros more expensive, maybe about 10 bucks in the US. Which means that in the US you got competition from the Lamso Atlantis Mini 4K with pretty much the same price and of course better performance. But in Europe the Lamso Atlantis Mini 4K is much more expensive. The thing I did not mention yet is the weight for the OP1we. So it weighs 58 grams and is extremely nice and light for a claw. The Lamso Atlantis Mini weighs 52 grams and I really can't feel the difference when I'm clawing these mice. But I can feel it when I'm just lifting them with 2 fingers. With fingertip grip, I will say that I can feel a slight difference, but I don't think this is going to be a blocker for anybody. The weight is nice, balancing is nice, especially for a claw this is very lightweight. All in all the features in the mouse are pretty much near perfect. It's just the click feel that I seem to always complain about with endgame gear mice. Let me know in the comment section if you guys are planning to get the OP1we. And thank you so much for watching, hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.